Well, good evening, YouTube. Welcome back to Gary's Garage. Well, I just wanted to fill everybody in on something really cool here. So, I've been wanting to have a Quill DRO installed on my mill, and I looked at all kinds of options, and the ones that I've seen that really look the best are the ones that integrate into the actual DRO itself. If you buy a DRO with 4 axes, and that's what I did. This is a Sino. It's a good brand. The quality of the actual unit, the hardware, the unit itself is really good. Yeah, oh, I can't pull that off, sorry, because of the cables on the back, but it's solid metal all around. It's not plastic. It's a real nice looking DRO. It's not that expensive if you consider, the other name brand, Newells and all that. This has really been great. So I ordered it with 4 axes, and once I knew that once I got the mill rebuilt to my liking, I'd order the 4th axis, and because I had to measure things up to see exactly how they'd go. And it's really slick. The Quill feed, moves the reader down. It does that via this shaft, essentially, and as you can see on the DRO, it does read. Yeah, and while I did that, I also designed, this was really simple, designed a stop so that you can actually accurately stop at a particular depth, because the original, let me go back, the original one that comes with the mills, and this is common on a lot of Bridgeport style mills, is this threaded rod with these thumb wheels, and you got to basically screw this all the way up to wherever you want to stop, and then all the way back down, and man, what a pain in the butt. You can get one of those spring-loaded, or sorry, it would be down here, spring-loaded releases so that you can go up and down, but they're actually not that accurate because of the thread on these things. There's quite a bit of play even with the spring-loaded one. So the best ones really are the ones where you can, you put in a shaft, a precision shaft, polished, and you put in a real nice stop that that stops really nicely, and you lock it in place, and it's very, very repeatable. I checked with the DRO, the repeatability of it, and it's really bang on to at least a half a tenth. So yeah, I'm really happy with that. Anyway, so my wife is away this evening, which is great, and that's why I can share a little bit of this with you, and hope everybody's having a great evening. I sure am. I'm going to start sucking on that in a little bit. Back in a second. Meet Phoenix the cat. He's our little shop cat. Bye, Phoenix. Alright, I'm back here. So I've disassembled the Quill DRO, and these are the basic parts. So the main one is the reader, and that basically, I've left it here as an assembly. So it's an aluminum right angle, basically. The DRO cover right there, which does nothing. You don't have to have it. The scale, and this is one of those mini scales, so it's not a regular full-size scale like the one on the side right here. These are the ones that I forget how they're called in China, but I think they're just mini scales. So they're just, they call them slim scales. That's what they are. And this works out a lot better for a quill because of the lack of space around the actual head itself. But basically, you take a 90-degree bracket, you bolt the scale to it, and then you take another, or I took another 90-degree bracket that I milled a little bit, and attached that to the reader itself. And that, in turn, screws onto this block that I machined, and this was a little tricky. So this is the block that I machined, and you see those two screws there, or screw holes. That's where the reader bracket screws into. And this block rides up and down this precision shaft, you know, so that when you run the quill down, this goes up and down, and then the reader goes up and down. So essentially what I had to do to make this work is I had to through drill here so that I could use a custom screw, which was this fellow right here. Had to thread that and basically just make a new custom screw, because this screw is what bolts into the quill itself. This here is the quill, and that is how the reader moves up and down, because the quill goes up and down via this bolt and that assembly. The only real critical part, precision part that I had to do here was this spacer, and this spacer is essentially what you would put at the end of that block, and this screw tightens up against this spacer, because this block has to sit on the head without getting too tight against the actual casting itself, otherwise it would bind. And so the spacer just allows it to come out a little bit to clear everything and then come up and down. So that was the you know, the only critical thing, and it has to do that, by the way. That spacer has to be, Jesus, I just dropped it down inside that hole. I'm such a butterfinger. That spacer has to be cut so that it is a very specific distance between the shaft and the quill itself. So it has to be, you know, within a half thou. Because if it's too big, then it'll bind on the shaft. If it's too short, then it'll bind against the casting. So anyway, I'm just going to put this down so I can go and dig that thing up. I'm back. What a shit show that was! I had to take the bloody vise off, and to get this part that fell inside there, I couldn't get it out. That was crazy. Oh man. Anyway, finally back. So where was I? Right. So this spacer was the only main precision part that had to be milled so that, or turned so that it would space out the right distance between the quill and the shaft right here. That had to be bang on, otherwise it would just bind up and be no good. So it took quite a few attempts, but other than that, it's it's done. Not a big deal. So that's all there is to it. I'm just going to put the camera back up on the tripod here and reassemble it. Oh, I just want to show you one more thing here. Maybe I'll do that. I milled, where was that? I milled a couple of, I milled a slot in here so that this turned out to be a real great idea. I milled a slot right here so that when, where can I see it? Yeah. When the reader bolts onto this block, the only way to do that is to install the block and then install the reader and then build everything up around it, and then this is not adjustable anymore. So if it's going to bind, you got to take the whole thing apart. So what I did, I milled that slot so that I could just install this loose and then come in behind, run this up and down so it's nice and free, and then tighten up the screws. So okay, take two. I screwed that one up. So let's assemble this now. So you start with the block. Got to put the mounting holes for the reader on the right side, and I drop the screw in the block and the spacer right there like that, and I take a screwdriver and line that up and screw that into the quill. Now I made this out of aluminum just to try it, and it seems, well, I don't know how long it's going to hold up. That's still yet to see. But yeah, it so far so good. I've only used it for a week, and it's worked out well, but we'll see how well it holds up. There we go, so that's that. We have the stop. That goes on next. Then the shaft. There we go. There's an orientation where it fits just a little better, but it slides in there really nicely. Well, there we go. Okay, that's set. I gotta set the set screws actually. Then it will be set, because if I let go it could drop. It's one tighten. And here's the other one tight. Okay, so that's not going to drop out. This moves up and down freely, and that, oops. Yeah, that goes freely, so it doesn't bind. There you go. Okay, so I'm happy with that. Next is the reader and scale assembly. That's just going to bolt on the side. I don't know what the right terminology for a lot of this stuff is, so I just kind of wing it, just to try to explain what I'm doing here. There we go, that's in. And yeah, just finger tight is good. I'm going to keep everything loose. And then I'm going to install those last two little cap head screws for the reader through that slot, and I can't show you that because there's like no room whatsoever. So I'm just going to go finger tight, make sure everything works. Whoa! Yep, so that works nicely. It's not binding. Alright, so I'm going to tighten everything up. And I have all these cables out of the way just for the purposes of filming, so that I could pull the the scale out of the way. I had everything nicely connected, but I couldn't put it down here for everybody to see. So that's in. The stop locks in real nicely, and so when the quill goes down, you got a real nice positive stop. So there you go. So anyway, that's all there's to it. Quill DRO, all installed. I think this project is getting pretty close to being done. The mill is essentially rebuilt. It's looking really good. The last little project I have to do on it is to replace that single phase motor with a 3-phase, because changing the belts here on the side is getting really tiring. So anyway guys, thanks for watching. Catch you later.